Welcome to LiveDaf, your online Daf Yomi Shir.
Shalom Aleichem. Welcome back to today's Daf Yomi, BECHOROS Daf Nuntes. We begin 7 lines from the top of the Yomid. So in the Mishnah we learned that ideally the fellow should take his animals, collect them into the pen, open a very narrow gate so that they come out single file. He counts them down 1, 2, 3 till 10, which he designates as master. But let's say he did not, and actually even let the 10th one out. So he counted 1 to 9, but never got to number 10. He's stuck in the pen. Amar Rabba Asiri, the 10th one, is going to be kodesh by default, by the fact that he's number 10. Since he's holding at 10, that is automatically number 10, whether or not he articulates it. Amar Rabba Asiri, the 10th animal, the 10th on the count, Me'elavu Kadesh, is Kadesh by itself. Rashi explains, Shimona Esher, they changed it to Tisha. He counted from 1 to 9, V'nishtayr Asiri B'dir, and the 10th one remained behind in the pen. Ava b'shalayasa, v'loy manoi. He never left. He never counted it. He never labeled it. Kadesh me'elav. It's Kadesh by default. Asks the Gemara, what's a huge chidush? Minalei l'Rabba. How does Rabba know? This halacha. Ilei b'madasanya. Perhaps is it based on the following brisa, which seems to speak about a similar situation. Ein li ela shekorish me'asiri. Perhaps maser is only going to happen if he actually labels it number 10. What if he didn't label it? He didn't number it as number 10. How do we know that it takes effect? So we learned that the 10th is Yeh Kodesh. It's Kodesh regardless of whether or not he labeled it. Okay? So this seems to be exactly Rabba's case. Says the Gemara, no. Vidilma, perhaps there's a difference. Asiri hud loy karye. In the case of the Brisa, he didn't label him as number 10. Fine. He didn't number it. But he still gave it some title, some designation. Kodesh Kari. Perhaps he called it as Kodesh. That's what the pasuk means. Asiri hi Kodesh. But otherwise, if he gives it no title, no designation at all, who says it's going to be Kodesh simply by the mere fact that it happens to be number 10? Elam Hadasanya. Rather, perhaps it's based on the following brisa. Kara Lachi Asiri. He mistakenly mislabeled the 9th as 10. V'yotza Asiri v'lei diber. And then the actual 10th walks out behind him, and the fellow didn't label him. He thought it was already 11, right? So what's the halacha? Hatashi nechal b'mumay. So this mislabeled 9th, you must wait until it gets a mum, because it has an element of holiness to it. We'll see it later in the next daf, Be'ez Hashem, where we learn that not only is the 10th going to be maser behema, but there's a concept called tos, a mistaken, a mislabeled animal. So the kedusha spills over to the right and to the left of that 10th one. If he mislabels the 9 and calls him 10, or he mislabeled the 11th, so what happened was he vacated the 10th slot. He called number 10, he called him number 9, and the 11th he called number 10. That 11th will have kedusha shlamim. So this is based on the psukim that not only is the 10th, the actual 10th kaddish, but it can spill over sideways to the right and to the left. It can affect the 9th, which was mislabeled as number 10. It could affect the 11th, which was mislabeled as number 10. So in this case, that's exactly what happened. Again, Kara Lachi Asiri was the 9th, and he confused the numbers. He called him number 10. V'yotza Asiri v'lei diber, and the 10th actually walked out without the owner saying anything and labeling him. Hachi nechal b'mumay. So the 9th has an element of holiness, and you have to wait until it gets a blemish to eat it. V'asiri maser. But the one that came out behind him, which is the actual 10th, is the actual maser, despite the owner not having numbered him or labeled him. This seems to be a proof to Rava that number 10 is Kaddish by default. Well, perhaps in that case it's still different than ours. The Ivra Asiri, Rashi says he left the pen, he came out. He followed the 9th, he came out as number 10, so even though he wasn't, verbally labeled. Perhaps that's better than our case, where he was still stuck in the pen, Inami, or you can say the Achvi Elavei, that actually the fellow did point. He made a physical gesture to indicate that this was going to be designated as number 10. So maybe that's why it generates Kedusha, but just stuck behind the pen, maybe that doesn't work. So bottom line, we don't have yet a raya to Rava that the 10th is Kaddish by its own sake. By the fact that he's number 10, even though he's not been labeled, not been designated, or even left the pen. Elamah the Sanya, rather it's based on the following Brisa, which discusses this very case. Karlachi Asiri, it was the 9th, he mislabeled it as 10. Umeis Asiri Bedir, now the real 10th, left behind in the deer in the pen, died. What happens? Chi Nechal B'mumay, so this mislabeled number 9, which was labeled as 10, we must wait until it gets a blemish and then eat it then, because, like we explained, it has an element of Kedusha to it, which requires that process. But V'chulam P'turim, the previous 8, right, that were counted 1 to 8 are Potter. Apparently they have been exempted somehow. Why? My time Kulam P'turim. Why are they Potter? It would seem that we never really successfully completed the process. The 10th never even came out of the pen. It wasn't labeled that Lav Mishum de Kadesh Liasiri. It must be because number 10 is Kadesh by itself, even though he never left the pen. In line with Rava's sheet. Well, says the Gemara, who says? Well, perhaps the Iftar B'nei Harai. Perhaps the process never really successfully concluded with a master designation. Not like Rav. So why do we exempt the first 8? If the process was never completed successfully, the answer is minyan haroi. When they were counted, the minyan, when it occurred, it was roi. Roi means it had the ability to conclude properly. There were 10 animals there to count. It had potential to culminate properly. And that in itself is a reason for exemption. Once you've experienced that count, a count which could come to fruition, could come to completion, you have now potter, irrespective of what happens, irrespective of whether or not there was a successful master behemoth designation. The Amar Rava himself teaches us elsewhere about this concept. Minyan haroi, a count which could lead to a successful outcome, poiter, that in itself affects an exemption. So bottom line, who says number 10 was really master? Maybe he wasn't. But the 1 to 9 were counted properly and they become potter. Elam hadasani, rather it's from the following brisa, where we will find a source to Rava's concept that the 10th animal is automatically kaddish. Sanya, Karalachi Asiri. He's holding at 9, mistakenly labels him as 10. V'nishtayr Asiri B'dir. And the real 10th stayed behind the pen, never came out, and it was never numbered or labeled, which is exactly Rava's case. What's the psak halacha? Hachi nechal b'mumay, v'asiri is master, exactly like Rava told us. Here's the source. Okay, now we're going to focus on the first part of the halacha. So we concluded that the 10th is master, good, by the very fact that he's number 10. But the 9th has an element of kedusha, as we explained, because he was mislabeled as number 10. Tani, we have a brisa which says chi chulin, the 9th is merely chulin, the regular animal has no kedusha whatsoever. How do you explain this discrepancy? Tani Tanakh Rav Sheshus. So the Chacham, who was an expert in brises, presents a solution to Rav Sheshus. Hamani Rav Shimon ben Yudihi. This brisa which doesn't grant any kedusha to number 9, is the shita of Reb Shimon Yehuda, the Sanya. Rabbi Shimon Yehuda Aimer, Reb Shimon, he quotes Reb Shimon. Afatashi ein kodesh, elim kenekar shemasir himen. We turn Talmud Bavli. So let's just backtrack a second. In the Mishnah, the next daf, Be'ez Hashem, we're going to learn that the kedusha spills over, right? So the kedusha of maser is not only limited to the 10th, it can even affect the animal to its right and to its left. Number 9, number 11, if they were mislabeled and they were mistakenly considered maser. So again, he's going from 1 to 8, fine. Then by number 9, he mistakenly thought it was number 10. He's one ahead of himself. He calls him 10. That has a kedusha, that there was a need to get a mum, etc. Likewise, if he uprooted the 10th, so let's say 9, he calls 10. 10, he says, oh, no, this is really 9. So he never really properly labeled number 10 as 10. And then he moves on to 11 and says, oh, you're 10. That's called nekar shem asir heimenu. He uprooted, he undid number 10 from the proper number 10. So he sort of left that slot open, which allows number 11 to slip right in there and gain some kedusha from the whole arrangement. And he's considered like a shlamim. He has kedusha shlamim, as we're going to see tomorrow, Be'ez Hashem. So that's a precondition. The only way number 11 could get any kedusha if there's a slot available for him. If he undid number 10, he never called number 10 properly. It was number 10, he called him number 9, so he never really properly designated number 10, so that slot sort of remained open, which allows number 11 to slip in there if it was mislabeled as 10. So is stated in the Mishnah. Here comes this opinion which adds that even the element of kedusha granted to number 9, which was mislabeled as 10, also hinges upon this precondition. Afatashi ein kodesh. The only way number 9 gets any kedusha is if ultimately he leaves number 10 open. Elam ke nekar shem asir himen, if he undoes number 10 from number 10. Because if ultimately he fills up number 10, then 9 has no way to go. There's no reason to give kedusha to number 9. So the only way number 9 can have any kedusha is if he does as follows. When he gets to 9, he mislabels him as 10, but when he gets to 10, he mislabels him as 9. So since he never really properly designated 10 as 10, so it leaves that slot sort of open, allows for number 9 to tap into that slot, tap into that kedusha. In which case we now understand the brayso, right, that we just quoted. He counted up to 8. When he got to 9, he called him number 10, but he never mislabeled the 10th. There was no akira number 10. So there's no kedusha number 9. There's nowhere to go. There's nowhere to draw kedusha from. So if number 10 goes awry, yes, the other ones could draw from it. But if number 10 is number 10, not properly designated as such, it depletes the kedusha in that slot. There's nothing available for the auxiliaries and the ones to the right and left. But they're nice, and it can be rationalized very logically. If this requirement applies to number 10, to 11, despite the fact number 11 really has strong potential. If he's mislabeled as 10, in this instance where the 10th slot was available, he gets kedusha of a shlamim. He's put on the mizbeach. He gains a very high level of kedusha. Even number 11, which technically can become kaddish to the point of hakrava, ein kaddish, will only draw this kedusha if he was mislabeled as number 10. Only if number 10 was uprooted from the 10th. If he undid number 10, allows 11 to tap in there. So even the 11th, which can rise very high, has strong potential, still has this precondition, is limited by this precondition. Certainly number 9, which never gets that high, even if it was mislabeled as number 10, at most you get some kedusha. You have to wait till the mum, but it's not brought as a karm. Kedusha karm never generates within itself a kedusha of akrava. So to begin with, as a smaller capacity, wouldn't you agree that it has to abide by this precondition? That number 10 has to be left open for him, but if number 10 was designated properly as number 10, then number 9 can't draw anything from there. Of course, it makes sense, only if the 10th was uprooted, yes, the 9 can take from that kedusha, but otherwise, no. And the Gemara now will sort of negate this reasoning, he only says, if anything, you could take your logic and twist it backwards, reverse it. In order to generate a higher level kedusha, you need more to draw from. The slot has to be open and available for you. Not so if you're just generating a minimal element of a kedusha. So we take the same sort of thinking and twist it around. You understand? If anything, that factor can be reversed. Achad Asar, number 11, Shu'oisa kedusha lekara, which arrives at a kedusha of akrava, a much higher level of kedusha. So if number 10 was undone, which leaves that slot available for him, fine, he can tap into it to gain that high level of kedusha Eloi, but otherwise not Eloi. Unlike the chi, number 9, which never even aspires to such a high level of accomplishment. Chi she'ena isa kedusha lekar never gets to the point of kedusha of akrava. Just gets residual kedusha if they have to wait for a moment. So perhaps that he can get even when number 10 was filled in. Even if number 10 was not undone, perhaps he can still draw from there. Inami. Additionally, you can say, Asiri. Number 11 has a disadvantage vis-a-vis number 9 because he's after 10. Once 10 was Iverle Asiri was already designated, so sort of the gate's shut, right? So it makes sense that number 11 can only have kedusha if number 10 was undone. If number 10 was taken away from itself yes, then 11 can draw kedusha Eloi, but otherwise not. Achieve, as opposed to number 9, which is still before the show. Still before 10 was designated. So in this case, perhaps he's not bound by this precondition. Even if ultimately number 10, which came after him, was not undone, it doesn't impact him. He can still, draw some kedusha because he sort of came in first. So if he was labeled as number 10, he gets that residual kedusha of number 10, sulamidi. And no more needs to be said. It's a pretty strong argument. But in any case, it's just our opinion. Reb Shimon Yehuda still maintains this position that any kedusha number 9 is contingent upon the undoing of number 10, which didn't happen in this price. Because what happened was he counted till 9, mislabeled him as 10, but 10 he didn't touch, it stayed in the pen and became kaddish. In which case number 9 has no kedusha whatsoever. Okay, so in conclusion, Rabbah teaches us a huge halacha, a huge chidush, that the 10th animal, by its very position, by its very default position, is number 10, is kaddish, irrespective of whether the owner labeled him or even called him out of the pen. It's going to have full kedusha of maser behem. Here's another halacha of Rabbah, which we're familiar with, which we actually just mentioned before, called minyan haroi. 1, 2, 3, 4, which could come to 10 because there are 10 in the pen, even if somehow the process was terminated prematurely. It never came to, but those that were counted are pater. Okay, they're no longer obligated to take part in another maser behema process because they've been labeled as 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 is pater, 5 is pater, right? Amar Rava, minyan haroi pater, right? Manali l'Rava, how does Rava know this concept? So we're going to search for a source. Ilay mamad tanan, perhaps back from our Mishnah, where we learn he told him mid-count, and one of the counted animals gets all jumpy and jumps back into the pen, mixes with the rest, with the uncounted ones. Kafas echon menuim, one of the menuim, one of the counted ones, jump back into the rest of the bunch. Kulam patur, and they're all pater. Why they pater? Because of this counted one. Who exempted him? Menuim gefai, those that were counted, they themselves, why they pater? The iftaru b'mai, what exempted them? Lav, it must be because of this concept. When you're counted, you're out. Lav, b'minyan haroi, because you were part of a count that could have concluded properly. So as Gemara, no, but then perhaps the Asar Alivayu, we're talking that he actually completed and concluded the count, and he took off the 10th. He designated number 10 on them. So certainly in that case they're exempt. But merely being part of a count that never really came to fruition, maybe that's different. No, Ahiloi Matzas Amers, you can't suggest that that particular story relates to animals that had already gone through the full process. Because the next story in the Mishnah illustrates an animal that had undergone Maser Behem already and jumped back in. apparently the earlier case is talking merely a counted one, not a ma'ased one. Well, but Dilma my musar and ma'aser dafka. No, maybe the next case is talking musarin. I mean, from the 10th ones, the actual maser behema jump back in. Whereas the previous case is talking that he actually came to number 10, he took off ma'aser, but we're talking that the counted ones, the 1 to 9 jump back in. So, in both cases, he came to the conclusion, he came to number 10. In the first case, the 1 to 9 jump back in, and the last case, the 10th one jump back in. My musar maser. The actual maser dafka, the 10th one, the economy. I'll even prove to you from the wording in the Mishnah, the Tani, because in the second case, what's the ramification? The Tani Yiru. They have to all be allowed to pasture and get a blemish, apparently because of the actual maser behem that's stuck within them. So that proves my interpretation of the Mishnah to be correct. So bottom line, we don't have any source that merely getting counted, really taking part in a counting that never came to fruition, exempts you. Elamar Rava, here's my source. Amakra Yavar. You have them pass to be counted, as opposed to a goat, a sheep that had already been counted, that already passed through. Okay, so it's learned from the pasuk. Now, what does that mean? Already passed through. If the one that passed through was part of a count that actually came to number 10, and there was a masa designation, it goes without saying. Why does the pasuk have to come tell you that's exempt? It's already experienced a full masa mehema process. Apparently, we're speaking that he experienced part of the count, a count that never actually came to fruition. And what does the Torah say? Shekvar Ravar. You passed through, you were counted, you're out. Shmamino? That confirms Rava's halacha. Tanakh will say the Rav. In fact, we have a brayso that supports it as well. Hoyle Asar Tzlaim started with 10. Vichnisin Ladir, he took the 10 sheep into the pen. Umana Chamisha. He counted 1 to 5. Umeiz Echad Mehem. And then one of the 10, one of the minion died. So what happens? It depends. Im min hamanuyim meis. If one of the counted ones, 1 to 5, right? One of those died. Moina umashlim aleim. You know what? He continues counting. Let's go. One more, right? Despite the fact that he doesn't really have 10 to work with. It's irrelevant because we disregard the ones that he counted. So even though one of them is no longer around, he can continue his count. And number 10 is master. Suppose one of the uncounted ones died. So now he can't really continue his count because he can't get to number 10, live animals. So what happens with the counted ones? Menuyim, those that he counted up, turn. They're exempt. Why? Because at the time of their account, they had the capacity, they had the potential to be part of a successful count. Minyan Haroi is Paiter. V'she'eni Menuyim, the uncounted ones, you have to wait until the next opportunity. Mitzdarf from the Ger and Acher, wait till the next, the next Ger, the next opportunity to pair them together with other animals and count them again. So you see clearly that Minyan Haroi is Paiter. Okay, on this topic, Lama Rava, it comes some more halachas. Hayloi Yudal Tlaim. Okay, this fellow now has 14 sheep. V'yachnisan Ladir collected them into his, gathered them into the pen. Now in this pen he had 2 outlets, 2 doors, 2 gates. So instead of having them come out single file through one gate, 6 went out through this way, and 4 the other way. So 6 here, 4 there, and 4 left behind. Okay, so what happens now? It depends where they went, which exit they took. The 4 remaining, they followed the 6 through that door. Okay, so noitel echad mehem. So he designates one of them, right, the last one, number 10, as maser v'ashar, and the 4 that went out through gate number 2, they're not exempt. not only did they not really experience Maser, but they were not even considered minyan haroi. Because when he counted them, how many were left? Those 4 and 4 in the pen. At most he can get us to 8. So they're still fully chayiv. Vashar mitzdarf and Garan Achad, they're going to be paired together in the next Garan to the rest of the animals. They're still pending, they're obligated. Vim lav, but otherwise. Meaning if the 4 that stayed behind decided to take exit number 2 to follow the 4, what happens now? Shisha patur. So the first 6, when they left, there was enough in the pen to complete the minyan. So they're considered minyan harai. So they're exempted by the fact that they were counted already. Varba, and the 4 that went out through exit 2 and the 4 that followed them, or stayed behind the pen, either way, which is merely a total of 8, they're still obligated, mitzdarfen, the Garan Achad. You have to wait until you find more animals later on by the next Garan and do Maser. Okay, so again we have 2 gates, 6 went out through gate 1, 4 through gate 2, and there were 4 left behind. They followed the 6, those 10 are patur, but the other 4 are still chayiv. They followed the 4, the 6 are patur, but these 8 are chayiv. Likewise if they stay behind the pen. Next case, let's reverse it. A pen with 2 gates. Yatsu arba pesach first. 4 left the first gate, Vishisha pesach and 6 through the second gate. And 4 left behind in the pen. Those 4 follow the 6 for a total of 10 through gate number 1. Great. So designate the 10th one as master. And the other 4 that went out through gate 2 are patur. Why are they patur? So again, 4 through gate 1, 6 through gate 2, 4 left behind. If those 4 followed the 6 through gate 2, right, through gate 2, so number 10 is master, and the rest is patur. Even the original 4 that went out through gate 1 are patur, because when they left, there was plenty left behind, enough to get you to master. They're considered minyan harai. But otherwise, if the last 4 did not follow the 6, rather they either followed the first 4 that went out through gate 1 or they stayed behind the pen. So what's the halacha? Arba, so the 4 that went out through gate 1, Vishisha, and the 6 that left through gate 2 are all p'tur, because at that time the count can potentially go all the way to 10. But the 4 remaining behind, mitzdarf and Garan Achad, they're still chayiv. Because even if they left and they were counted as they left, but there was no longer the potential to have meiser. Okay, so they're chayiv and they have to wait until the next opportunity. So again, we have 2 gates, 14 sheep, 4 sheep out gate 1, 6 out gate 2, and 4 left behind. Those 4 follow the 6. So, we have 10 here that came out through gate 2, the 10th one is master. And everything else is patur. Even the original 4 that went out through gate 1, because at that point it was minyan harai, it could have come to number 10. But otherwise, if these 4 did not follow the 6, if they stayed behind or they joined the first 4, so the first 4 and the first 6 are patur because they have minyan harai, but the last 4 do not have minyan harai, and they're chayiv. Third case, yotzu arba b'pesach zeh, arba b'pesach zeh. 4 left gate 1, 4 through gate 2. V'nishtar Hashem shisha, and 6 are left behind. So in this case, both sets of 4 have minyan harai. They can come to 10. Right? The first 4 had many left behind, past 10, and the can get to 14, and the second 4 At that point, you still have 6 left behind, and they can they can take him to number 10. So im oisan shisha yotzav pesach echad, v'shtar shish. Okay, and you have 6 left behind. Im oisan shisha. For those 6 that are left behind, yotzav pesach echad. They exit one of these gates. Noitum echad. So he grabs the 10th one. V'ashar p'tur, and the rest is put. But otherwise, if they stayed behind or some other configuration. So both sets of 4 of the original 4 are patur. Arba'a v'arba'a patur. As we explained, because when he counted the first 4 and the second 4, there was still enough left in the pen to bring it to the desired number 10. And here's a chiddush, even though it isn't really enough to go around. Look, either they go out this way or this way, but that's a chiddush that we're going to see in a minute. And either way, option also works. So each group of 4 can sort of call those 6, consider those 6 as theirs. Interesting chiddush. So I could say that the 6 would have followed me, so I have minyan aroi, and you can say the 6 would have followed you. It works. So they're all peturim, v'shisha. But the 6 that were left behind, mistargim gar and acher, have to wait until the next gar. My kamashma. What's the point of repeating all these cases? The minyan haroi poiter. That once you experience a count that could be successful, that in itself exempts you. That's old news. V'amar Rabbi Chadazim already told us that earlier. Why rehash it with all these illustrations? The point is to add this last twist. And either way option also works. Perhaps I can say, when it's definite, vadai, minyan haroi, amrinan. So when you have only 10 animals with 1 gate, you count it off 1, 2, 3, and something happened, that's called minyan haroi, because ultimately it would have come to 10. But safek, when you have 2 routes, 2 gates, and it's either here or there, minayin, who says we can apply this concept as well? Safek minyan haroi, the chazil lahacha, or the chazil lahacha. Because the goats can go this way or that way. They can attach themselves to this group or this group. Well, I mean, who says we can apply minyan haroi? In this case, kamashman, you could. So each group can claim the animals as theirs, and it's considered minyan haroi. V'amar Rava. Here comes another halacha from Rava. This fellow now is 15. He did meiser, aser, b'shvishet, this asher, he had the skula, now he's up to 15. A bracha. But some are better than others, so he wants to pick and choose. Can he do that? He says, look, either way, only a minyan is needed for Maser Behema. May as well pick the weakest ones. I'll leave the better ones inside. Well, yeah, you can't say, ever asara, I'll pick out, my choice of 10, v'chnisim l'dir, put them into the dir for the Maser process. V'etam mehem echad, I'll take 1 off for the Maser, v'ashar patur, and the rest will be patur, because it's below the minyan. Rather, he must bring them in as a group. Ela koinz and ladir, takes all 15 into the pen. Umoitzi asor, and he counts 10. V'noitel mem echad, designates 1 as maser. V'ashar mistam garach, and the rest has to be connected to the next garin. Tanam Yochi, you find the same in a brayso. He had 15. Lo yomer ever asara, he can't decide to choose 10. You turn to the next amud. Lo yomer ever asara, v'etel mehen echad, and pick 1 as maser. V'ashar patur, and leave the rest on the side. Ela koinz and ladir, puts them all to the pen together. Umoitzi asara, counts out 10. V'etel echad, 1 is maser. V'ashar mistam garin echad, the rest has to wait for garin echad. Now Rashi points out an interesting point, that the Brisa is teaching us a couple of points. First of all, you can't pick and choose. Secondly, the rest is now off limits. You see, typically, you would say, look, come Geirin time, but I don't have 10, then I can still use them. What's the point? I'm not Chayil unless I have a minyan. Here it's different. Since they were incorporated into a Maser arrangement, they were part of, 15, a group of 15. They're all Chayiv. And the Geirin now is Keveya. It triggers an obligation which doesn't allow him to tap into them anymore until you get the next opportunity and do the Maser from them. So even the leftover 5, which are below the minyan, but they took part in this quorum, in this process. This group of 15, they're chayiv, and you have to wait it out until the next Geirin, and then you can tap into them. Ask the Gemara, is that so that the ones left behind are now set aside until the next Geirin? They're usher until the next Geirin, when they'll experience a proper Maser Behema? Tanya, we have a brisa that allows you to take the rest home. Okay, this fellow has 19. Well, yeah, you can't say ever, asara. In any case, all I need is a minion. So I'll pick out, 10 of my choice. And take one as maser. And leave the other ones behind. Elo, no, you can't do that. Rather, it takes the whole group into the pen as one. Asara counts out 10. One is maser. And the rest you take home. Unlike the previous malacha, which insists that you have to leave the ones pending on the side, pending the maser behema of the next girl. Why in this case are they potter? So this kasha, we'll see later, was asked sort of a kasha on Rava during a shir, a very public shir. It was the regal time of Yom Tov. The whole crowd was there learning halachas of regal, very public setting. And this is going to be a very strong kasha on Rava, right? Rava taught us that in this case of 15, we treat them as one single group, and whatever's left behind has to be set aside. You can't take it until you do the proper maser behema next time around. And here the brisa seems to say otherwise. So Rav Huna bar Schera came to the rescue, and the Rabbeinu Gershon says he was not known as a great scholar, as a great chacham, but he had to d'shmaya. Chazon Ish used to say that sometimes a person, even though he's not really capable on his own, doesn't have the intellectual prowess to be so successful in learning, but the mama's tzreren, the grandmother's tears by the tefillos, and while she was lighting the Shabbos lich, the tefillah that the kids should be talmid chacham, that inspired him, that affected him later on, later generations. So Rav Huna bar Schera was not known as a great chacham, but he had to the shmaya. And he came in on the clutch. He came and helped Rava and solved the kasha here. Tirgum Rav Huna bar Schera kamei in front of Rava Berigla during this very public lecture, and he says, "I'll tell you what's going on. Let me explain to you. This brisa is talking about a different scenario. We're speaking about a pen that has two gates, like before. Not a typical pen, has two gates. And what happened was, they split as they came out. 9 walked out through gate 1. 9 through gate 2. So you had 19 to start. 9. Everyone left behind. And as we learned before, you can do either way. You can apply them in both directions. In which case, both sets of 9 have experienced a proper count that could come to fruition in pater because of that. So now the whole bunch is pater, except for the number 19, which is maser behema. The hayach, because the one left behind, the number 19, this single one, is suitable for this group, and can identify with the second group as well. So only he's maser and the rest is pater. Okay, so basically, what Rav Huna bar Schera did, he took Rava's own teachings, his own concepts, packaged it together, right, and provided a solution to the kasha on Rava himself. Right, so he defended Rava with his own teachings. He basically took the concept of minyan haroi. When you experience a potential a count that could potentially come to fruition, that in itself is an exemption. He also applied another twist to this point, that you can go with the either way concept, take one animal and sort of relate them to both directions, and that served as a solution to this question. I asked the Gemara L'Shangli, why couldn't he just offer a more simple solution with a pen with one gate? He could go in Shemona Tish, he counted up to 9. When he got to number 10, he mistakenly went back to number 1. So he went 1, 2, 3, 9, and then started again from number 1, completed till 10. So now all of them were counted, all of them are exempt, except for the last one, which is maser behema. Perhaps that's the case of the brisa. No, he couldn't do it this way, because he went with Rava's opinion, which we learned earlier, that the 10th one is kaddish by default, by the very fact that he's number 10. So, irrespective of what happened with his mumbling, with his confusing numbering, number 10 will be kaddish. So it doesn't matter that he stopped at 9 and started with 1, because that one after 9 is maser. That option doesn't work. So why couldn't he offer another solution? He could go into man and zugos. Zugos, he counted them as pairs. So he took every 2 animals, right? Counted them as 1. 1, 2, 3, right? So when we got to 9, which is really twice 9, right? That's number 18. And then the last one, 19, is the Masra. And again, based on this concept that they're minyan haroi, they're all suitable. They can all potentially come to full count of 10. And that last last one, is the one that can go either way. So it's very similar to the previous solution, but it's a single gate instead of 2 gates, which is more typical. He couldn't use this as a solution because he held, we're going to see later in the next daf, that in this case, when he counts them as pairs, which is not a proper way of counting, he's supposed to count a single file, then we ignore his count. What happens is that the actual 10th becomes Kaddish. So it's not going to be 19, which is based on his count. Rather, it's going to be based on the fact that he's number 10 animal coming out. So once he gets to the 5th pair, he's going to have Maser Behema in there, in the 5th pair. So the solution doesn't work. Rather, it was a pen with 2 gates, 9 this way, 9 that way, and the one left behind is Chazi Lahacha can potentially connect to either group, which makes them minyan haroi. They've experienced a proper count that could come to fruition, in which case everybody's patur except for the 19th, which is Maser Behema. Amar Chacham Yitzchak. What a great answer. Zakai Ime. How fortunate is the mother of this, the Rav Huna bar Schera, of this Chacham, the Shani Le Shmaita. The Shani Le Rava. Shmaita Brigel Kishmaite. He was lucky to have the ability, the clarity to respond and to solve and to answer the question on Rava's Shir Berigla took place during the Regel, Kishmaite, in accordance with Rava's own teachings. You don't get better than that. Okay, several halachas of Rava today. Firstly, number 10 is automatically Kaddish. Even if he stayed back in the pen, even if he wasn't numbered or designated. We had a riot for that. Next, we have Minyan Haroi Poiter. If a goat experienced a count that could have come to fruition, even though something went awry, it was terminated midway, it's Potter. And not only that, even if the Minyan Haroi is based on an either way formula, meaning there isn't really enough animals to go around, but the ones left behind can go either this route or that route, so both groups can use them as theirs, can consider them part of them, and it's a Minyan Haroi. He starts with 15. He can't just pick them out. He has to put them all in the pen. And what about the rest? Well, it depends what happened. In a typical case, the rest is chayev next time. But in the case of the double exit with the 9 and 9, right? In that case, the rest would be patur as well. All the best. Yatzlach Rabba.